The grocery cart note with my name and two checkboxes. The note was the kind you write on the back of a receipt because the front tried too hard. It was folded once and parked upright in the child seat of a grocery cart as if someone intended to save a place. In thick, careful print it read, "For James." Under that, two empty squares labeled, "Bring water and choose repairs." On the opposite side, in pencil pressed hard enough to emboss the paper, "If you still mean it, 7:10 p.m. loading dock bench, M." I fix picture frames in a shop that believes old glass can be convinced of its better nature. The street outside our door is a polite argument between the bakery and the hardware store, which means we smell like sugar and competence in alternating hours. At home, Theo arranges exhibits so gently that museum walls forget to be guardians. We've been together 7 years. We keep the good spoons within reach and the word, always, out in the hallway where it can't bruise the conversation. The loading dock bench faces a strip of evening bees pretending to be traffic. At 7:07, I sat with a corner store bottle and the kind of curiosity that knows its weight limit. A man in a gray hoodie with a bike helmet looped through his backpack stood a few feet away, consulting the bench like a co-conspirator. He had the face of someone who had practiced not raising his voice at furniture. When I set the note on the slats, he glanced at it and then at me, as if confirming the paper hadn't wandered off on its own. "You're James," he said. The way he said it was less question than ground wire. "Usually," I said, "and you're M." "Morgan," he said. I trusted the letter more than the whole name until 5 seconds ago. He flipped the note over and tapped the checkboxes. "Can we start by marking these without explaining ourselves?" We checked both boxes. He produced two paper cups from the backpack and set them upside down like a magician who refuses to pretend. From the bag, he pulled a small cloth-bound notebook and placed it on the bench with both palms, the way you set down a wrench you respect. On the first page, stamped with a patience I wished I'd inherited, were the words "provisional rules." Beneath them, in the tidy handwriting of a man who has apologized to clipboards, "Memory may testify, it doesn't sentence. If either of us says water, we pause. No theatrical exits. If we have to go, we go, no curtain calls. Kind beats clever. Sit where you can see the exit." "These stop our neighborhood meetings from auditioning for a play," he said. "They also stop our kitchen from trying to invent fireworks." "I've got a sixth," I said. He handed me a pen that had done this before. I wrote 6. If we become cowards, we say so in the present tense. He nodded like a bolt deciding to trust the thread. "Thanks," he said. He poured water into both cups, and we drank the way you drink before telling the truth, first because the body needs it, second because the sentence will. "I work in traffic timing," he said. "I spend days turning patience into seconds. I keep writing the word home on forms that reject adjectives." He considered the rim of his cup. "Max and I are on year 10. The noun fits. The parade doesn't." I thought about Theo showing me how to hang a frame so the nail asks fewer questions. "Why did you write my name on a grocery cart?" I asked. "Because last week I watched you talk a woman away from gold leaf on her grandmother's recipe," he said. "You told her breathing space was cheaper and more honest, and you didn't do that thing where kindness begs to be applauded. I want to practice that kind of decision, where the only audience is the thing being helped." We sat with the noise that comes when pallets remember how to be useful. A teenager rolled past on a pallet jack, king for 12 feet and then again a kid. Morgan set the notebook at an angle between us and drew a line down the page. 3 lines each," he said. "Left side keep, right side avoid, no adjectives we can't carry for a week." I wrote, keep the size of our dinners, keep the chair near the door, keep the sentence, give it a minute. Avoid always. Avoid letting jokes do the work of honesty. Avoid polishing a history into a lie. He wrote quickly and folded his sheet as if it deserved a stamp. He didn't ask to see mine. We're people who fix, we don't collect. We started meeting where the city forgives you for thinking out loud. A park bench whose paint had learned to tolerate shoes. The end seat in the last row of the community auditorium, where the lights know how to step down politely. The window table at the diner that doesn't get ironic about coffee. He brought mandarins, and once a tangerine that wanted to be a metaphor. I brought a matte board with a window cut out and a word printed for each month. Air, exit, return, to remind my hands why the frame exists. At home, I told Theo about the note and the rules and the loading dock. It isn't a secret, I said. It's an instruction manual. He fetched 2 glasses and set them on the table with the good spoon's confidence. He wrote promises must fit in a jacket pocket on a sticky note and stuck it to the fridge next to a print that reads put words away clean. Pocket-sized or it becomes homework, he said, smiling the way you smile at a friend who shows up with a ladder instead of a speech. In April, my father gathered up the kitchen floor with his femur. Hospitals are excellent at pretending grief is administrative. I sent water to Theo. He answered already poured. I sent the same to Morgan, who returned a picture of 2 cups on a curb and the caption also this holds. I slept in a chair that remembered different suns. When my father woke from surgery, he said, "It doesn't burn anymore," which is a sentence I want engraved on the underside of every day we forget. Work didn't become holy, it became straightforward. A man asked if I could gild his open sign so the street would respect him. I said breathing space was cheaper and less likely to lie. He said, "I just want customers," and I said, "Then invite, don't audition." He laughed like you laugh when someone let you be respectable without buying a costume. If this were the kind of story that admires itself, here is where we'd add a neon kiss and a confession. We didn't do that. There was a lunch, the 3 of us, because some rooms deserve to meet rather than compete. We chose a diner that wasn't ashamed of surviving Wednesdays. We sat where we could see the door. Theo asked Morgan how many seconds of white make a crosswalk feel like the city respects knees. Morgan said, "Enough for breathing to be a verb, not a stunt." Theo wrote it in his sketchbook like a sightline. We ate. We handled the check like adults who don't need parlor tricks to split a bill. We left the air the way we found it, available. The 3-line ritual continued like trash day. Keep the chair near the exit, keep pocket-sized promises, keep the sentence, give it a minute. Avoid always. Avoid jokes for jobs that require honesty. Avoid polishing away proof that the thing existed before today. Some nights Theo added a 1-line forecast. Words away, tools away. The sink settled. So did I. In June, a bus stopped too long between stops for the schedule's taste. No one turned it into a performance. Morgan took 2 cups from his bag and poured water like we were legally required to be merciful. A teenager across from us had the face days have when they've run out of friction. He accepted a cup without being asked to thank anyone. There are forms of gratitude you shouldn't force the afternoon to host. By August, the cart note lived in the drawer where I keep brass screws and other small salvations. I found myself checking boxes in my head when someone asked me for drama. Bring water. Choose repairs. The lost and found peg at the station kept its own faith. Tags for umbrellas that weren't there. A scarf confident enough to be read. Morgan and Max tried the rules set with their own vocabulary. They placed a cup on the counter when the conversation needed air. They taped a card by the switch that read home, noun that survives new chairs. We're under maintenance, not demolition, Morgan told me. It's more boring and more possible than we thought. In September, Morgan brought a shoebox labeled courtesy lights, two small clip-on LEDs. "For your winter bench," he said. I gave him a frame with a window for a word he could swap monthly. He chose welcome for November because the door kept forgetting. If this were a parable, we could end with a moral about small hinges and big doors. Instead, I'll tell you what happened tonight and let you decide what it means. The grocer closed early to attend a niece's recital. The loading dock was a map of pallets that once had plans. I sat with a bottle and the notebook and the habit of not being in a hurry. Morgan showed up with 2 cups and the face of a man who had made one fewer excuse than yesterday. We checked both boxes: bring water, choose repairs. We didn't explain. We didn't audition for a bigger stage. We wrote 3 more lines each and promised nothing we couldn't fit in a jacket pocket. At home, Theo asked, "What did you fix today?" And I said, "A sign that forgot inviting was the point." He said, "Water." And I said, "Please," because some prayers are merely good manners. We drank. We sat near the door not because we planned to leave, but because we like giving the room a way to breathe. I put the note back in the drawer with the screws, the place where small, useful things wait for you to remember that keeping is a skill. If another cart holds a note with my name and 2 boxes to check, I will bring water and the pencil and the rule about cowardice in present tense. I will sit where the exit is obvious and the air has a job. I will ask the man across from me what he keeps and what he avoids, and write down only what he can carry. When we're done, we won't seal the box with twine. We'll leave it empty and call it space. In the morning, the bakery will smell like Thursday. The hardware store will sell a hinge that does not require drama, and the sign I letter will be legible without applause. That will be, against rumor, enough.